right, so the only difference between this and what we did last time is instead of just an X inside of there, you might have something else, like another number. All that tells you is how many times you will go around the circle. All right, so do you see how that says 2X? We're going to go around the circle twice. That is all that that means. Okay, end these passes real quick. So sine, and this is positive. Sine is your y value. So what quadrants is your y value positive in? Yep, 1 and 2. But your y value is positive. So it looks like little kitty cat ears. I feel like this is not straight. Let me try and do this without messing up my projector here. All right, so sine is the y value. Here's our square root of 3 over 2. What angle goes across from that? All right, good. And if you guys stick with me like this will go nice, quick, and easy. So the only difference is instead of x equals, when you put your answers, it's going to be 2x equals, and then we'll have one extra step. That's what I was saying. This is exactly what we did last time, but there's one extra step. Did I give you guys sheets? I just want to make sure. Sometimes I forget if you're not there. Sometimes I forget even if you are there. So, all right, so let's go around the circle. This one is pi over 3. What's this one? It's 2 pi over 3. Now you have to go around the circle again. The whole way around is 2 pi. Here's the $1 million question. What is 2 pi in thirds? 6/3. Okay, so if you take this answer and you add 6/3, you would get good. And if you take this answer and you add 6/3, you would get basically 2 plus 6 is all that we did there. It's just thirds. Now here's the last step. This is the one extra step. To get x by itself, you would divide by 2. So you have to take all these answers and divide by 2. If you divide by 3 and then you divide by 2, you have now divided by 6. Think of the pizza slices. Like you had 3 slices, but then you divided them in half. They're going to all be 6. So this first answer is pi over 6. This one would be 2 pi over 6, which is 1/3. You're just reducing fractions. Basically fun with fractions. This one would be 7/6. And this one would be 8/6, which is 4/3. So again, exactly what we did last time, but with one extra step. We're just going to do a few more problems together. All right. For this one, the first thing you have to do is get the signs together. If it helps you to put a 1 in front of this one, then you can do that. So if you have 3 sine blah, 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 minus 1 sine blah, blah, blah. Like if you subtract that over, 3 minus 1 is 2. It's like 3 of that something minus 1 of that something equals 2 of that something. Yes, go ahead.
On the last one, how did you get 4/3?
So when you divide by 2, you end up with 8/6, and I just reduced the fraction.
Oh.
You're just reducing fractions is all that it is. If you want to write 8/6 off to the side like a margin problem so you can see it and then reduce it, then you can do that. No, nothing the matter with that. All right, what would be your next step trying to solve this? Yeah, you would divide over this 2. So you would get sine of blah, blah, blah equals 1/2, which, oh my gosh, is on the unit circle. It's sine and it's positive. So same quadrants as we were in for the first one, except this time your y value is 1/2. So what is the angle that goes across from 1/2? It's pi over 6. Now, how many times do we go around the circle? Well, this is 1/2 x, so we're only going to go halfway around, which means we're going to just get these 2 answers. Does that make sense? You just go halfway around, okay? So instead of x equals, you're going to have x over 2 equals, and then you're going to have one extra step. Again, it's what we did last time, but one extra step. So this first answer is pi over 6, or I guess we're almost to the final answer. What is the one in the second quadrant that's 6? Yep, 5 pi over 6. Now, for this one, we divided by 2. For this one, to get x by itself, you would have to, yeah, so that you can see it, I'll write it out. We're going to multiply everything by 2. If that helps you to see it, or if you don't need to write that, if you can do it in your head, that's totally cool. But what we're doing is getting the x by itself. So this one would be 2/6 which is 1/3. This one would be 5 times 2 is 10. So it would be 10/6, which is 5/3. Good job. Perfect. Just reducing fractions. Try it again.
Wait,
Oh, wait.
never mind.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was thinking of the X over 2 and I was like, never mind, it doesn't matter.
The goal is to get X by itself. Okay. Also, if you're like, hey, I'm not quite getting it yet, we did 2 problems. That's why I have more. We're going to do more examples. All right. What would you do first to start solving this one? Yeah, add over that square root of 2. So it'll be positive when you add it over. And if you have a secant or a cosecant, what you want to do is reciprocate. You want to flip it. You just did a quiz on the identities. What do you get if you flip secants? Yeah, it's cosine. So cosine x over 2 equals. Now, if you were to flip this, you would get this, which is square root of 2 over 2. Now we figure out what quadrants we're in. It's cosine, which is your X value, and it's positive. So in what quadrants is your X value positive? Like you want to go to the right. Yeah, 1 and 4. Good job. So it's going to look like, I don't know, like part of a kite or something. Yeah, butterfly wing. So this is your square root of 2 over 2 triangle. And so your angle is pi over 4. How many times do we go around the circle? Halfway. So look it. We're only going to go halfway, which means we won't get to this triangle. Do you see that? How we won't make it? So you're actually only going to get one answer instead of 2. Yeah. Do you see how it's x over 2, half of an x? We're only going to go halfway around the circle. So we don't make it to that other triangle. All right, so you're going to have x over 2 equals pi over 4. And then you get that one extra step where you have to get x by itself. So in this case, we're going to multiply by 2. And so what does that give you for your final answer? Yep, pi over 2. Good. 2/4 would reduce to 1/2. I'm going to skip to a different one real quick. We're going to do this out of order. I'm allowed to do that. Okay. Can you skip to the last one? Go to number 8 real quick. We'll go back and do the others, but just to do a compare and contrast. What would you do to start solving this one? You'd -1 and then divide by 2. Good. I think you guys are at a level where I can do both of those steps at once to save us some writing. So where is sine negative? Sine's the y value. So where is that negative? Yep, 3 and 4. Good. It looks like upside down kitty cat ears. So this is your -1/2. That means your angle is pi over 6. How many times are we going around the circle? Halfway. Now look it. If you only go halfway, you get nothing because you don't make it there. And so no solution. So sine is your y value, and that's where your y values are negative. You have to go down for your y values to be negative. But then if we only go halfway around the circle, we don't make it to any of the triangles, so we don't get any answers. Just kind of cool. I know. Oh, darn, we didn't have to finish the problem. Yeah, there's no solution. You just don't get any answers. All right, there's a lot of 3s in this problem. First, you would divide by this 3 in particular, all right? So you get cotangent 3x equals square root of 3 over 3. And again, I'm going to write this on the board, so it's not going to end up on the projector, but you know, we've done this a lot at this point. It is either this or that. So you got a 50-50 shot, but which one of these is going to reduce the second or the right one? Okay, so it is 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2. Now here's how my brain does tangent and cotangent. They're catty-cornered from each other. What I mean by that is they go across from each other. If this is positive, you need to be in quadrant 1. And so then the other one would be 3. The tangent and cotangent go across from each other. That's how I remember. And so if it's positive, got to be in quadrant 1, and then the one across. So if it's negative, you would get these two. All right, cotangent is x over y. So the 1/2 is the x, the square root of 3/2 is the y. So our angle is pi over 3. How many times are we going around the circle? 3. You're going to be okay. All right, we're going to write 3x equals, and as foreshadowing, how many answers will we get if we go around 3 times? 6. Good, because you're going to get 2 answers each time you go around. So pi over 3, just buckle up. You're going to be all right. It's going to be a little bit of writing, but it's not hard. All right, what is the thirds answer? 4 pi over 3. Now again, we're going to add a rotation, which would be how many thirds? 6 thirds is 2 whole pi. Okay, so look at this one. If you add 6 thirds, the 7 thirds, and then look where I'm pointing. We're on this one. If you add 6 thirds, 10 thirds. Good. Now we're just going to do it again. So look at the one I'm pointing at. This one right here. You're going to add 6 thirds. Yeah, good. 7 plus 6 is the math that you did there. And then the last one, I heard you say it back there, 16 thirds. One extra step, you have to divide by 3. Now listen, if you've divided by 3 and then you divide by 3 again, you have now divided by 9. Good. So you're going to have pi over 9, 4 pi over 9, 7 pi over 9, and I'm going to stop narrating because that does get annoying, but you can just mindlessly copy all of these as ninths, and those are your answers. It wasn't hard, it was just a little bit more writing. You will be okay. If you guys need to go, I'm recording this. You can always watch the last one. Right? I'm going to need for us to do a collective focus, though. I feel like we're losing focus, and I have 3 more problems to do. You're all going to be okay. All right, this equals 0. So instead of a triangle, it's going to be a circle. Good. So I'm looking for words like up, down, left, or right. We want cosine, which is the x part of the point, to be 0. Good. 0, 1, and 0, -1. And hold on a second, because I got a little bit ahead of some people. I know I write fast, so everybody just chill for a second. We're going to just take some deep breaths. But don't lose your focus. You have to keep calling everybody back to attention. How many times are we going to go around the circle? 2. So how many answers will we get? 4. So what is the first amount of rotation up at the top there? Pi over 2, good. And then this one will be 3 pi over 2. Now we're going to add a rotation, which would be, it's 2 pi, but that's how many halves? 4 halves. So take this first one and add 4 halves. You will get 5 halves and then 7 halves. Or if you notice, it's all the odd ones. Do you get what I'm saying? And then what's your last step? Divide by 2. Now, if you have divided by 2 and then you divide by 2 again, they should all be fourths. So you can kind of just mindlessly copy all of these as fourths because none of them are going to reduce. What would you do to start solving this one? You have to square root. Now, when you put a square root, you need to put plus or minus. Now look at the board behind me. Which one of these options reduces down to just square root of 3? The left one, the first one. So it's going to be plus minus square root of 3 over 2 over a half. Now I kind of like when there's a plus minus because you don't have to worry about which quadrants you're in. It is all of them, and it looks like a cute little bow tie. So as a heads up, there's going to be a lot of answers for this. You will be all right. Okay. Tangent is y over x. So your square root of 3 over 2 is the y. 1/2 is the x. I can't really fit that in there. But the point is, what is the angle? It's pi over 3. How many times are we going around the circle? So how many answers will we get? 8. I would never give you more than 8. If you're like, how many will you do? 8 is the maximum I would give you, okay? All right, buckle up. What's the first one? Pi over 3, and then 2 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3. We got 4 more. You're going to add 6/3. Now, it just so happened that all the ones in this paper ended up being thirds, and that's 6/3. But can we talk about if it was 6? What's a whole rotation in 6? It's 12/6. Okay, I just want to make sure you knew that. All right. But basically, you're going to go and just add 6/3 to each of these. So that would be 7/3, 8/3, 10/3. I'm going to run out of room. And 11/3. And you have one more step. You're going to divide by 2, which means they're now all going to be 6. And yes, I think every other one simplifies. So just be careful. So the first one would be pi over 6. This one would be 2/6, which is 1/3. 4/6 is 2/3. This is just fun with fractions here. 5/6 does not reduce. 7/6 does not reduce. Sounds like I'm lisping with all the 6. 8/6, that would be 4/3, good. 10/6, be 5/3, and then 11/6 does not reduce. Thanks for being good sports about it. Nobody complained, and that was awesome. Again, that's the maximum I would give you is 8. I wouldn't go above 8. You did it. Good job. All right, one more. Shh. Now, this makes you think of the circle, but for tangent and cotangent, it's not. I just remember tangent and cotangent go across from each other. It's negative, so it can't be quadrant 1. So it's going to be 2 and 4. Yeah, tangent and cotangent go across from each other. Now, here's the next question. How do you end up with 1? Or in this case, it's -1. Yeah, good. Perfect. They have to be the same. That's how you end up with 1. Anything over itself is 1. This one just happens to be negative. Bless you. So what is your angle? That's kind of pi over 4. Good. How many times are we going around the circle? 2. So how many answers? 4. So that's not that bad. So what's our first? Fourth. Good. There we go. 3/4. And then in the fourth quadrant, 7/4. Good job. Now the whole way around would be how many fourths? Good. You guys are so good with fractions. You're basically just going to add 8/4 to both of these. So 3/4 plus 8/4. Yeah, 3 plus 8 is all the math that you did there. And then this one would be 15/4. And then you're going to divide by 2. They're all going to be 8s. And I don't think any of them will reduce. So you can kind of just mindlessly copy these all as 8s.